We want to do bipartisanship with you. You won't let us do it. Who is this for? Who is this for, I ask? Is there a base of support amongst liberals that's just like, no, we love bipartisanship with the Trump administration. We really want to find a way to manage the collapse of American empire in a way that makes sense. We want to privatize everything as well. I don't want Social Security, actually. Let's just turn it into a cryptocurrency or something. Fuck it. You know?
And look, I have no love for Donald Trump, but I do have reverence for the office of the president. In the military, they salute the uniform. They don't salute the man or the woman in the uniform.
Oh, God. And then some silly-ass bullshit about the military. Okay, great.
And just think about where this leads. If we defend that behavior at the next State of the Union, when there's a Democratic president in the Senate, people will start standing up and obstructing that speech until there can be no speech. So I feel very, very strongly that at some point we need to stand up and say, as horrified as we may be by Donald Trump or by Barack Obama or by Joe Biden, we act with decorum and with the civility that says to the world that we are a serious country. What you saw, by the way, as much more on the Republican side at the State of the Union address, and yes, Al Green, was a country that is not being serious about governing itself. We have nuclear weapons. We're the most powerful economy on the world. We need to start telling the world that we are serious people, and we're telling them the exact opposite with the behavior that we saw in the speech.
Dude, we are not a serious country, and you are not a serious person. Oh my God. I hate this. Trump puts new limits on Elon Musk. Ladies and gentlemen, the president convened his secretaries with Musk to clarify power. It's beginning. It's happening. President Donald Trump convened his cabinet in person on Thursday to deliver a message. You're in charge of your departments, not Elon Musk. According to administration officials, Trump told top members of his admin that Musk was empowered to make recommendations to departments, but not to issue unilateral decisions on staffing and policy. Musk was also in the room. The meeting followed a series of mass firings and threats to government workers from the billionaire Tesla founder, who helms the Department of Government Efficiency that created broad uncertainty across the federal government and its workforce, as you guys know. That's what DOGE does. DOGE's actions have faced ferocious resistance in court and criticism from Democratic lawmakers and some Republicans. It also has been an unpredictable force, a mallet that is picking apart the administrative state and doing so in the silliest ways possible, constantly lying to the American public about where these massive cuts are coming from, like actively lying to the American public, saying like, oh, we cut $8 billion here. Oops, turns out it was just $8 million, not $8 billion that you cut. Things of that nature that they keep doing over and over again. A lot of the lies that Donald Trump has also championed, like the transgender mice thing that he talked about, the fake State of the Union that he did. Yeah, it turns out, first and foremost, transgender mice and studies conducted on transgender mice or trying to make mice trans probably yields a lot of medical benefits. That's just how medical research works. We've talked about this quite a bit. But it turns out it wasn't actually trans mice, like as in transgender mice. It was, from what I understand, transgenic mice. However, White House has since then doubled down on this issue, claiming that everyone else is lying. Here's Nicholas Christakis posting a Rolling Stones article on this. The man is an idiot. Trump claimed Biden spent $8 million making mice transgender. The White House tried to back this up with records of funding research into cancer, asthma, and HIV, some of which used transgenic, genetically modified mice. To be clear, some of these studies did involve cross-sex hormone experiments, and that is fine. Specifically, the grant amount, $532,000. Purpose, use a mouse model to investigate the effects of cross-sex testosterone treatment. Context. The study likely involved administering testosterone, a male hormone, to mice to study its physiological effects, potentially in the context of understanding gender-affirming hormone therapy or related biological processes. The use of cross-sex suggests examining how hormones typically associated with one sex affect mice of another sex, which is common in endocrinology research to model human conditions, including those related to transgender health. Now, it's not even this. this study in and of itself doesn't exclusively focus on the impact of trans medical care. Studies like this happen all the time, and it's additionally weird. It's additionally weird when you got a guy like RFK Jr., who is a recipient of testosterone replacement therapy, something that he openly admits to, by the way, is running around in this administration that is actively making TRT and other kinds of hormone replacement therapies less safe. We cannot, under any circumstance, allow these morons to decide what kind of medical research seems silly or inappropriate. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing? How do we get here? How? I mean, we're back. This is like George W. Bush era stem cell research shit, okay? You're making trans rights a political issue? What? It's not even about trans rights. This is not about trans rights or trans wrongs. This is just about medical research. I am not a scientist, and neither are you, even though there are some researchers in this community, okay? And as someone who is not a scientist, who understands the limitations of his brain, okay, I will always repeat that there is a very good reason for why this kind of research is conducted. And I hate that people have completely lost sight of the concept of critical thinking and just go, that study sounds stupid to me, cut it. Here's the health research from the New York Times. It says Rolling Stone has it wrong. There have been quite a bit of National Institute of Health funded research that has used animal models, including mice, to assess the impacts of cross-sex hormone treatment. Trump was wrong to claim that these studies were meant to turn the mice transgender per se. That would require that mice have the humanoid cognition to have gender identity in the first place. The Washington Examiner recently published a 9-page list of animal model research of cross-sex hormone treatment. It was compiled by the White Coat Waste Project, a nonprofit that opposes animals in research. Benjamin Ryan is the health and science reporter for the New York Times, NBC News, Washington Post, The Atlantic, Guardian, New York Sun, cancer survivor. The same thing happened after Trump's debate with Harris. Liberal media outlets presumed it was so bonkers that she would support taxpayer funding of ICE detainees to get gender transition surgery. They didn't bother to fact check it properly. She did support this. ACLU teased this out of her in 2019. Yeah, the irony, of course, is that you know who else supported this? The transgender bottom surgeries in detention facilities. Donald Trump. That's right. Donald Trump also, under his administration, allowed these kinds of medical procedures to take place. It makes no sense not to. It is marginal. It is inconsequential. It is insignificant. It's medical treatment. Okay. If you have prisoners, you have to offer them medical treatment. You can't just like decide that nope, they're less human. Okay, they're subhuman. Not going to give them any sort of medical treatment whatsoever. Anyway. The real question is whether there should be animal model research to study the impacts of drugs that many transgender people already receive. Republicans decry the lack of solid safety data on the pediatric gender transition treatment, and yet they seek to cancel studies that could address the dearth of knowledge. The reality of the matter is there are numerous studies conducted on animals. There's a lot of animal testing that takes place. Some of it is on cross-sex animals, okay, to figure out the impact of hormone replacement therapy. But hormone replacement therapy doesn't just help trans people. You're a moron if you think that hormone replacement therapy is only for trans people. It's not. It's for cis people as well. I technically take a form of hormone replacement therapy because I take Propecia for my hairline. Okay? RFK takes TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. That is hormone replacement therapy. It is incredibly important to continue studying the effects of hormone replacement therapy for everyone. Okay? I don't like that these people are just across the board anti-science and they go, oh, there's a trans mice involved in it, so I don't like it. They will legislate it away for trans people specifically like they're doing in Texas right now. It doesn't. My point is, once again, these people that hyper focus on trans people, thinking that they're doing something to dominate trans people, they fail to recognize that this harms cis people. There are more cis people than there are trans people. A lot of, if not all of the anti-trans legislation ends up impacting cis people as well. Estrogen is, the most used prescription for E is women with menopause. Exactly. Or young girls that have issues with that. Like it's like birth control, contraceptives, different kinds of hormone replacement therapy that cis women and cis men use at every point in their lives. Okay. It is idiotic to think this is just exclusively dominating trans people. There are more cis people than trans people, and there are a fuck ton more cis people on HRT than there are trans people, myself included. But getting back to Musk, because this is one aspect of the DOGE cuts, just simply flooding the market with a bunch of lies and expecting the idiotic audience to receive this misinformation gladly, and then continue running their mouths about these different forms of medical research. Musk joined the conversation and indicated he was on board with Trump's directive. According to one person familiar with the meeting, Musk acknowledged that DOGE had made some missteps, a message he shared earlier this week with members of Congress. Trump stressed that he wants to keep good people in government and not to eject capable federal workers en masse. But his administration has in recent weeks fired tens of thousands of federal workers across numerous agencies in a series of blanket terminations. A federal judge and the chair of a federal civil service board have both concluded that the terminations were not tied to performance issues and may have violated civil service laws. Lo and behold, shocking that you can't just say all probationary employees are now fired and then claim that it's for performance issues. It is unclear whether the new guidance will result in laid-off workers getting rehired. They have already forcibly had to rehire a bunch of laid-off workers from the Department of Energy, for example, the nuke people, the people that are in charge of the nukes, because that's what the Department of Energy is in charge of as well. The nuclear arsenal. They had to immediately rehire them after firing them. They had to immediately rehire the people that were working on the aviation flu at a time when aviation flu is ripping through our poultry stock and causing egg prices to skyrocket. What did I say? Didn't I say avian flu? Did I say aviation flu? Oh, God. I got aviation on the mind. Another area where Trump has demonstrated, his administration has demonstrated spectacular failure is the FAA. But yes, I meant avian flu. But aviation flu is also a different thing. It's when planes fall out of the sky. Yo, hope you have a great day, Hasan. Hey, Pokelaws, you too, brother. Aviation flu happens when you don't have at least one gay pilot. Trump, globalists are behind stock market sell-off. Okay, give me the live feed. Who has the link to the live feed for Trump? Trump is speaking. Trump is speaking. My goat is speaking. It's time to listen to my goat. It's time to hear out my goat. Where is he? Where is he being unhinged? I need to hear him.
And I think we'll do even better now. But this is something that we have to do. There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing. But the United States will be very happy. And, you know, our farmers are going to be very happy. And again, they'll be disruption.
Are they? I don't think so.
In the end, I said it before with China. We signed an unbelievable deal with China, $50 billion in purchases, and we're doing great. Biden, however, when he came in, they never enforced that deal. So that's the only thing that basically you have globalist companies that have been ripping us off that won't be able to rip us off.
Globalist companies.
I think that's what the big charge is.
Have you been influenced, some of these exemptions that have been announced and some of these temporary delays, have you been influenced in those decisions because of the market reaction?
Well, there are no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the market because long term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies that have been ripping us off. and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it. You know, we took in tariffs from China, $600 billion. Nobody else took in 10 cents from China. They never did. But when COVID came along, we had to focus on COVID. We did a great job. We got rid of that. We ended up handing over with a market that was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. But this is very much about companies and countries that have ripped off this country, our beloved USA, and they're not going to be ripping us off anymore. So, you know, I think that has an impact on the market.
Mr. President. Sir, this is a slate of nominees that's been prepared by the Presidential Personnel Office. It includes a number of sub-cabinet level appointments, a number of your ambassadors that have been previously announced, and also, crucially, given the administration's concerted effort to focus on violent crime, it includes a number of U.S. attorneys in major cities that have real crime problems.
Okay. Some very good people, too.
Thank you, sir. And then we have a number of ceremonial proclamations that Lindsay Halligan is going to.
So two very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just, what, a month and a half? So.
Yeah, we've done a lot, and women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor. We have a
women have done a lot for us.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thanks for all that you're doing for women.
Thank you. She's going to do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not doing the interviews.
Yeah. My goat. My goat is talking. You want to pull up?
That's great. Women, we love you.
We love you too, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent.
So the second one is a proclamation proclaiming March 2025 as Irish American Heritage Month in honor of, to commemorate
too,
our
and push the
amazing
mic
friendship
in.
between America
Hold
and
on,
Ireland.
I'm going to unlock
and
it.
to
Let's hope that there is no
just honor all of
weirdness
the
coming from
Irish
the mic.
Americans, and I'm a little bit biased because I'm American and Irish, but
Yeah, well, great people.
Who is this person? What is she saying?
it's coming up as well.
And they voted for me in heavy numbers, so I like them even more. You have to like it. You know, you're not supposed to, but you have to like that.
His
So for
signature
the Irish
is
American
awesome,
people,
though. I will say.
proclamation.
He has so much fun with it. He has so much fun with it, and I do like his signature. To be
Your
fair.
envoy Steve Witkoff told us a little while ago that if Hamas does not release hostages, that the U.S. and Israel could take some action. What does that mean in your eyes? Is that military action? Would you join strikes with
Well,
Israel?
you're going to find out. I had the honor of spending a lot of time yesterday with quite a few of the people that we got out, and I can't believe how badly treated they were, really badly treated. Stories that you wouldn't even believe. Some of it was documented, some of it was so bad you couldn't really, I don't think you can put it on. And it's a shame, and they said one thing, that they have 59 hostages, of which many of them are killed. They want to know if we could just continue. They said without us, look, Biden wasn't able to get anybody out. We came along and they started releasing. But we have 59 left, of which 24 are living. The rest are dead. And I put out a statement. It's sort of self-explanatory, I think. But
Yeah, it's always self-explanatory.
somebody's going to have to get a lot
belligerent
rougher than
man.
they get. It's a shame. And
Actually,
those
no,
24 that are
his
living,
things
because they
need to
were
be,
with
like,
them just 2 weeks
decoded,
ago,
like,
or
really
3 weeks ago,
carefully,
depending on when they got out.
Yeah, when he says
But they
stuff
said
like,
they're in
"I'm
very
gonna
bad
pummel
shape."
Gaza into the ground," you'll see. Yeah, just you wait. You know, I'm always
Fire
thinking.
and fury.
I'm always thinking, like, what does he mean by this? What does he mean when he says, like,
We
I'm
had a great meeting.
I'm
We
gonna
had
show you
Elon
what's
and
what?
Ronnie. They're not going to spend that money. They're just taking that money. We're giving nothing. They're coming in because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're opening up big. So, but with respect to people, I said I want to cut the people, but I want to keep the good people.
President, tariffs, sir, can you walk us through the next steps on this? Steel and aluminum tariffs are due to kick in next week on Canada, Mexico, and every other country. Are those going to be modified as well?
No, those aren't modified. Those are happening next week. And the big one will be on April 2nd when reciprocal tariffs. So if India or China or any of the countries that really, India is a very high tariff nation. I'll tell you what's a high tariff nation is Canada. Canada charges us 250% for our milk product and other product, and a tremendous tariff on lumber and things as such. And yet we don't need their lumber. We have more lumber than they do. We don't need Canada's lumber. So what I'm doing is I'll be signing an executive order freeing up our forests.
That's gonna fix
so
it.
That we're allowed to
no, I think
take down trees.
If we just, you know what's gonna fix the housing market situation?
Degrowth.
Yeah,
Also, we're cutting
making it impossible.
Degrowth.
50 yards.
He's JD Pond. He's
swath.
like he's
It
killing.
is
He wants to
trees
kill the
get,
Treatlerites.
long
Like
enough
he's
so
he's
trees
punishing
don't
the
burn.
American working
I
class.
would
So
at
you can
least
get 'em out.
I would entertain
And those
that thought
trees
for
can
more than
be
like a
sold
third of a
and made
second.
a lot of money with.
Were it
So-
not for the
but
fact
we'll
that
be
it's
doing
also
that.
like,
We
and
don't
we're
need
gonna find
trees from
oil
Canada. We don't need
wherever
cars
we
from
can
Canada.
and
We don't
suck it
need,
up and put it in the air.
energy from
Like
Canada.
it's,
We don't
you know,
need
he
anything
wants
from Canada. So,
very badly also to like microwave the
can
planet.
be self-sustaining, which is in most things.
The
Look,
buzz
we have
on the
more
mic
oil
is
and
so
gas than
loud.
anybody. Our forests
I
are
really,
massive, massive forests. We're just not allowed to use
if I
them
hadn't
because of
seen the clip,
environmental lunatics
if I
that
hadn't seen the
stopped us.
clip, I would.
So I'm going to be freeing that up very shortly so that we don't have to go to other countries to buy lumber. You know, why should we be buying lumber from other countries, paying tariffs, paying big prices, extraordinary prices, and we have lumber. We have the best lumber. Go ahead.
And this USMCA exemption that you're essentially announcing today for this 1 month.
It's just a modification, short term, because I didn't want to hurt the American. It would have hurt the American car companies if I did that.
Would you consider the same sort of exemption or pause for the auto tariffs you're talking about next month?
We're not looking at that, no.
You're not?
No, we're not looking at that, no. No.
Revoking TPS for the Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.?
What about it?
Are you considering revoking the TPS status for the more than 200,000 Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.?
Oh, what are you saying? I don't-
The Ukrainians that are here in the
Yeah,
U.S.,
yeah.
they're under a TPS status.
On GPS?
He
doesn't know.
Oh, I thought you said GPS.
GPS.
Yeah.
There was some news saying that they were going to be revoked and they were going to be deported
Yes.
from the country. Are you considering that?
He hates
Well, we're
immigrants
not
too
looking
much,
to
I
hurt
have to know.
anybody. We're
I mean,
certainly
he's
not
extended
looking to hurt
TPS to
them.
Venezuelan migrants on
And
his
I'm
way
looking
out
at
before,
that,
so.
and there
Well,
are
and
some
like the El
people that think
Salvador,
that's
like, he knows,
appropriate, and
like, I
some
mean,
people
who knows
don't,
what
but I'll
he
be making a
himself-
decision pretty soon. Okay?
President Trump.
But we're not looking to hurt them.
President Trump.
We're not
Especially
looking to hurt
Ukrainians.
them.
They've gone through a lot. Yeah, Peter?
They've gone through a lot.
Straightforward on Sunday. When are you going to get rid of daylight savings time?
Okay, are you ready? So, this should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue.
Shut up.
Biden for that one. He should have released that a long time ago. So they are giving me a report next week sometime, and I do believe I want to release the report. A lot of people have asked that question. You had one who had 3 apps, 2 of which were foreign, supposedly, and who has the biggest white shoe law firm in Pennsylvania, even though they don't live in necessarily a white shoe area. What's that all about? Is Laura, the law firm. The other one had 7 or 6 cell phones. And I don't have 6 cell phones. And why would somebody have 6 cell phones? So we're going to be releasing a report on that soon, Peter.
But based on what you're saying right there, the lack of information and the data points that you just gave, does that make you think that there's some part of that there's some bigger?
It could be. Well, it makes other people think that. It makes me think it a little bit too. I say, when you have 3 apps and 2 of them are foreign, and you had an FBI that wouldn't report on it, they didn't want to say why, I would say that could be suspicious. And then on the second assassin, you had, And by the way, I have to tell you, Secret Service did a great job on that by spotting him. But on the second one, he had 6 cell phones. That's a lot of cell phones. And a couple of them had some strange markings on them. So, yeah, I want to find out, and I would be willing to release it. I mean, maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't, so I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis, but yeah, I would be very willing to release that. I'd like to see it. I want to see it myself. Not only you, I want to see that one myself.
Mr. President, may I?
Yes.
President Macron yesterday said that France was ready to offer its nuclear protection to other European countries. What do you make of it? And in this case, would the U.S. also maintain a nuclear umbrella for European countries?
Well, France is also willing to put soldiers into Ukraine for safety reasons if we can get it. I will say that we've made a lot of progress with Ukraine and a lot of progress with Russia over the last couple of days. And it'd be great to bring that to an end so we don't have to talk that way about nuclear. It'd be great if everybody would get rid of their nuclear weapons. You know, we have Russia and us have by far the most. China will have an equal amount within 4 or 5 years. And it would be great if we could all denuclearize, because the power of nuclear weapons is crazy. It is crazy. And I was very far along the process with Russia, despite the Russia hoax, which didn't make it easy. It was a total hoax, a total rigged hoax by some bad people. But despite that, I was very close to having a program with Russia, denuclearization, and we're going to get China. I spoke to President Xi about it, and he would have been very happy to have gone along with it. But bad things happened, like an election that was rigged happened, and so we had to come back 4 years later. But I would very much like to start those talks. The opposite of what you say, the denuclearization would be incredible.
Mr. President, on the auto tariffs that you were talking about, I know yesterday you spoke with the big 3. Did you tell them that no more exemptions were on the way, and what was the reaction?
I told them, that's it. This was a short-term deal. And they came back to me yesterday. They said, could we have some help on the tariffs because of the speed? And I said, look, I'm going to do it, but that's it. Don't come back to me after the April 2nd. I don't want to hear from you after April 2nd. We're not going to be doing it anymore. I want to help them.
What was their response?
They didn't complain, but I helped them short-term during this short-term transition. April 2nd is going to be a very big day for America.
Mr. President, my understanding is that the longstanding U.S. policy is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. So how did you come to the decision to send somebody from your team to negotiate with Hamas?
We are having discussions with Hamas. We are helping Israel in those discussions because we're talking about.
Also, that's not true.
Israeli
that we don't
hostages.
negotiate with terrorists.
And
that's like literally a thing they say in movies.
We're not doing anything in terms of Hamas.
That's
we're
not
not giving
real.
cash. We're not giving
so I don't know
$6
who
billion
asked that
like
question,
other
but I want to shake
administrations
his
give. In
hand.
fact, I got 59 hostages out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing.
Oh, they're
not
also
including
fixed.
what's
Wow.
going on with Hamas.
Like universally.
I mean, I consider that something where we're helping Israel for the most part. We had a couple of hostages.
What about
as
this?
You know. We got a
I
couple
just have
of
to angle it,
hostages
that's all.
out, American hostages.
Let's move closer. Boom.
But certainly, Peter, I do. You have to negotiate. There's a difference between negotiating and paying. We want to get these people out. If you would have seen the people yesterday, maybe you did, I don't know, but if you would have seen them, the way they spoke about their captivity, it was unbelievable. It was terrible.
Are you thinking about making any changes to NATO where NATO country gets attacked, but they're not paying enough dues, so the United States doesn't defend them?
Well, I've said that to them. I said, if you're not going to pay, we're not going to defend. I said that 7 years ago. And because of that, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if you're not going to pay your bills, we're not going to defend you. And it also went for the attack. But if they got attacked, they said, well, does that mean you won't defend us? I said, are you current or are you delinquent? They said, if we were delinquent, would you? I said, nope, I would not. And because of that, as you know, hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO. You wouldn't have NATO right now if I weren't there. And your previous Secretary
You wouldn't
General
have NATO.
has said that. He said he's never seen anything like it. When I came to NATO, when I first had my first meeting, I noticed that people weren't paying their bills at all. And I said I should wait till my second meeting, and I did. And I brought that up. And I said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate. We're not going to protect you. And when I said that, as soon as I said that, it was amazing how the money came in. The money came in, and now they have money. But even now, it's not enough. It's really not enough. They should be paid.
I fixed it, I think.
You've overseen about $2 trillion worth of domestic private sector investments come in just about 2 months. This is the newest one. It comes after your announcement of a new shipbuilding office at the White House during your joint session to Congress. Can you talk about why this is important, not only for national security?
First cable was better. I will.
Renaissance of domestic manufacturing.
I can't say what I want to do to you.
Maintain a strong country.
But I'm thinking it. I'm thinking it, and you can't stop me from thinking it.
Debt. We have a lot of debt, but that'll start coming off quickly when this all comes around. Look, we've been supporting the whole world. You mentioned NATO and you mentioned other things. We've been supporting the whole world. When I first came in, we were paying almost 100% of NATO. NATO it was crazy. We were supporting NATO. We were paying the bills for other countries. And yet those same countries, mostly European, the European countries were ripping us off in trade. They won't take our cars. They wouldn't take our agricultural product. They wouldn't take anything. We were taking their cars by the millions, Mercedes and BMW and your little Volkswagen, all of them.
Your little
We were
Volkswagen.
taking their cars. They weren't taking.
Yeah.
We were
Your
taking
little
their farm
Volkswagen.
products. They weren't taking ours.
You like a Beetle? Little Beetle.
We were protecting them by giving them the money, and that adds up to a bad number at the end of a lot of years, and that's what happened. And now it's time for this country to stop being ripped off. I had that done very much in the first administration, but then we had to focus on other things at the very end with COVID. And
thank you for the 100
we had the greatest
gifted.
economy in history. We had the greatest economy in
BG.
history. I think we're going to redo it here, but even better. And I wanted to do what we're doing now in the first term, but we had so many other things to do. We had to fix the border, which we did. We had to fix our military. We rebuilt our military. We completely rebuilt the military, only to watch Biden give so much of it away
Mark
to
Milley, woke
Afghanistan.
Maoist
You can believe it.
Milley.
It's not even believable.
Unbelievable. He
It's not
came in and
unbelievable what
ruined
he
the
did.
military,
The
made them all
damage that
woke
that
and
man
gay,
did, or that
vaccinated
administration
them.
did
We took the
to
picture
this
down.
country is
No more
is,
pictures.
Frankly, not even believable. And in
Unbelievable.
particular, allowing millions and millions of people to come into our country. Many of them were murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from prison for
It's crazy how
heinous
hard
crimes.
these murderers supposedly just, cross this magical boundary and stop doing murders.
Yeah, they all just.
They all just get rehabilitated instantly. They get one-shotted. The
It's
term
like-
you were using
well, it's
last
like
night.
Be
It's like
spending
there's
anything
a-
on that.
oh,
We had the
term I was
safest border
using
ever.
last
Yeah, he uses
Now we have
one-shotted a
actually-
I
lot.
didn't use. I
As you
literally
saw, the
prefaced it
numbers
by
just
saying
came
like
out,
that word that
where we
everyone
have
uses now
actually the
to
lowest
highlight and
numbers in the
detach
history of our
myself from,
country. But,
because I recognize
we
that it's
shouldn't have had
a
to do
horrible
that.
way to talk.
What we're doing now is we're looking for murderers. Can you
Phase
believe it?
Noah in the
Yeah,
building.
We're looking
exactly.
for
That's how I
murderers.
talk now.
Because thousands of murders, some about 50% killed more than one person. One killed 5 or 7. And we're looking for those people right now. We shouldn't have to be looking for
President Trump, on Peter's question, are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think
There
it's
it is,
common
Mr.
sense, right?
Douchey.
If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend
Big fan
them.
of
No,
your
I'm
work,
not gonna defend them. I got
Douchey.
into a
Keep
lot
up the
of
good
heat
work. You're better
when
than
I
your
said that. He
father.
said, oh, he's violating
Douchey
NATO.
Senior.
And the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, I know the guys very well. They're friends
I
of
know
mine.
the guy. The name.
But
He's
the
talking about
United
it.
States was in trouble, and we called them.
What do you mean? He knows them very well. He knows
We
the
got a
NATO guys very
problem.
well.
Listen, they're a great
France,
hang.
we got a problem.
They've always got sodas.
A couple of others I won't mention.
They even give out
Do you think
gummies
they're
at
going
their
to come and
parties.
protect us?
Nice guys, but
They're supposed to.
they've got issues.
I'm not so sure. With Japan,
They
with
let
Japan,
people
we have a
drive
deal,
home
which
when
is
they're
a
in no condition to
very
drive
interesting
home.
one.
Bad
I love
guys.
Japan. We have a great relationship with Japan, but we have an interesting deal with Japan that we have to protect them, but they don't have to protect us. You know that?
What?
That's the way the deal reads. We have to protect Japan.
Do you think he knows how that happened?
And by the way, they
Do you
make
think
a
he knows
fortune
why?
with us economically.
Wait, I wanna
That's
hear what he
another
says.
case. But we have to protect Japan, But under no circumstances do they have to protect us.
Japan's standing military is quite literally unconstitutional. A constitution that we wrote, by the way.
We did.
We made it so that it is illegal for Japan to have a military. And this fucking idiot is like, they don't have it. They call it self-defense force. They're saying it's illegal, folks. They can't protect us.
Close to 100% of NATO. So think of it. We're paying 100% of their military.
Let's see. Let's trail into the Asmongold side of the universe and see what his chat is saying.
Back to the White House. What do you expect from him? And do you think you'll see him in a necktie?
Well, I think what's going to happen is Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a certain different way that only I know. Only I know. They have no choice either.
Crazy Trump is screwing in the U.S. and all these American shills don't care.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Mr. President,
They've been very, you know,
Wait, what? Did he just say
I've made a deal
he's
with
going to
Saudi Arabia
yeah.
where
I didn't know that.
normally you'd go to UK first.
I think he's
And last time I
continuing
went
with
to
the
Saudi
Biden
Arabia, they put up
nuclearization
$450
agreement.
$billion, you know.
Like Biden,
You
the
were
Biden
there.
admin was talking
We
about
had
giving
a,
Saudi Arabia nukes.
We had
You know what I
American
like?
companies that
I
took
like
them
giving
450
nuclear
barrels. I
power
said, well,
to the country
that did
where it's-
9/11?
Yeah, and that like where it's like
they've
still
gotten
contentious
richer.
for women
We've
to
all
drive.
gotten older.
Yeah.
Like I think
So I said,
that sounds
I'll
fucking
go
great.
if you pay $1 trillion, $1 trillion to American companies, meaning the purchase over a 4-year period of $1 trillion. And they've agreed to do that. So I'm going to be going there, and I have a great relationship with them. And they've been very nice, but they're going to be spending a lot of money to American companies for buying military equipment and a lot of other things.
UFC boxing, W Saudis, dude. This is who the sports washing is working on.
over the next
A
month and a
guy
half.
like perhaps one of the most Islamophobic people you've ever met, going W Saudi Arabia. I love the UFC.
Yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
It's like, dude, they just got Cristiano
I
Ronaldo.
don't wanna say that,
The
but I have
Saudis are
spoken.
taking
Yeah.
over soccer, dude.
Yeah.
I have a great
Gramsci's
relationship
homegirl.
with
Thank you for the 20
President Xi.
gifted.
But you've spoken to
It was hurt because of COVID.
Thank you, Mr.
That's why I don't call it the China virus anymore.
Yeah, he
Please don't
eliminated
call
it
it
because he
China
called
virus.
it the China
But to be
virus.
clear, you've spoken to him since January 17th?
I don't want to say that, but I have spoken to him.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
Wait,
I
what?
speak to him a lot.
Regarding this
I don't wanna say
executive
that,
order
but I
you
have
signed
spoken.
revoking security clearances at Perkins Coie.
It is kind of shocking how many people are angry at Trump and Asmongold's chat. I think this goes to show, I think that the platform is very top heavy and people just kind of gravitate towards.
People don't. I mean, I'm sorry. I think it's like really hard. I think most people don't want the education department to go bye-bye. I don't think that many people had as like difficult an experience in school as perhaps those streamers.
I've never seen so many people in his chat just like actively dissenting.
Approved of your.
I love this guy. Who are you with?
My name's Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
I see. I really liked your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I wonder
The
why.
answer is just, Nick, just
I
to,
really like your
and I know
questions.
your name very well. Good job, you do.
Thank
Yeah, they're saying
Yeah, the
glazed
answer is, I
questions.
thought it was very embarrassing for the
Glazed
Democrats what
questions
happened
from
the other
Bright.
night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and they said it. And worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them
You know what's
anymore.
crazy? He
They
says
have
very
lost
few
such
people watch this. A
credibility.
lot of people still watch
Frankly,
cable
what
news. But
Nicole
here's the
Wallace
thing: they're all
said,
so fucking old, man.
I've
It
never
really
been a
is,
fan
like,
of hers.
Everybody who's
But-
watching that.
And she's
shit.
not very
Oh, yeah.
talented. But I'll tell you what she said
Like
the
in
other day about that
2016,
young
when I was
man
still like, you know, like
is
covering
disgraceful.
media
She should
and
be
tech
forced to
some extent.
resign.
I remember
And
like,
Rachel Maddow should
one of
be
my
forced to
coworkers
resign.
published this
Nobody
article where it was
watches
just
her
sort of
anyway. I
like
don't know.
laying out like
It's not
here's the
possible to pay
average
her as much
age
money as I
of
hear.
like the major
But
viewers of the
certainly
major
she's lost
network. And in like
full credibility,
2016, this
both
is like
of them.
almost a decade
But
ago,
what
the
they-
average
what
age
they
of a
said
Fox
the other
viewer
day, they
was
should
like
be forced to
69.
resign
The average
about that
age of
young
a CNN
person.
viewer was a few years younger, and
Who was suffering
MSNBC
greatly.
maybe a
Thank
year
you.
below that. But it's like all these people, like all these fucking people, just they collect Social Security. Like they're
Yeah.
not representative of
look, we
most
have a lot of
people. And you
Yeah.
have to like think about how much brain real estate they take up in the minds of
And
everybody in that
China's
room.
going to play a role, and so hopefully China will approve of the deal. But they're going to play a role. But we have a lot of interest in TikTok.
How long would you extend it and how close?
See, but if I need, I don't. Right now, we have at least another month. so we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended. Yeah,
Mr. President, regarding the executive orders, there was talk that you might sign one winding down the education department.
Which department?
The education department. Are you having second thoughts on that one?
No. I want to bring the
Wait,
schools,
why did he say fake news then?
I want to bring the schools back to the states. And, you know, I've said it 100 times. We're ranked at the bottom of the list, and yet we spend more. We're ranked #1 for cost per student. We're ranked at the bottom of the list in education. And I know if I bring it back to Iowa, Indiana, Idaho, all these great states, I think I could say 40
totally true,
states.
but Idaho schools
I want to
fucking
bring
rock.
it back. 10 states won't be perfect. 5
I would
states
love
will
for
be
the education system
probably
that
not
gave
so
us Sarah
good.
Palin
But they will be
to be
every bit as
empowered.
good as Norway and
I like that he says, you know, some states are going to fall behind and that's okay. Like, you're the president of America, dude. What do you mean some states are just not going to be fine? That is a psychotic thing.
It's also just like, it's like, that's what's happening now.
Yeah,
That's the case now. And what you're just doing is gonna
look
make
at
it
look at
worse.
Mississippi, look at Alabama. Like, they're not doing fine.
Also, like within these
DC
states,
that
it's
couldn't
like,
care
I mean, it's
less
all like, it's all just
about the
about like,
pupils out in the
obviously, like
Midwest.
returning it so that like education becomes like classic.
Well, I want to just
and
do
like,
it.
you
We're
know,
starting the
like,
process.
in the
We're
same
trying to
way
get
that
the
like it's
schools
undermining
back
suffrage, undermining
into
like
the states. Let the
universal
state-
rights
Also,
enshrined in the
who
Constitution.
do you think is fucked over in this more? Red states or blue states, chat? Like, obviously, red states are underperforming on education already. And it's directly going to worsen this problem by creating this ginormous gap that already exists between those who have the money to be able to go to a private education and get a private education, those who are lucky enough to be able to get vouchers to go to private school, and those who just get no education whatsoever going forward. These guys will not stop until basically everyone is homeschooled. Yeah.
People, eye contact will be a really valued skill.
It's a great leap backward. Yeah. JD Pondon doing the great leap backwards.
Out of Gaza? I think that Gaza's a mess, and I think that Gaza could be good. I think it's got to be run properly, but right now Gaza is an absolute mess, and it has been for many, many years and decades. Yeah, Peter, did you have
I
one
think
more?
it was a bit more of a mess in the last year and a half, but that's just me. That may just be
Stuck
me.
in space for 8 months. Have you
Oh,
spoken to
boy.
them?
They left him alone. Biden left him up there.
And what do you know about that?
I know everything about it. I said, we have 2 astronauts that are stuck in space. I have asked Elon, I said, do me a favor, can you get him out? He said, yes, he is preparing to go up, I think, in 2 weeks.
What do you know about how this went down? Because he's saying that the Biden
It's crazy
White
that they
House
already
was
have an
offered
existing
some kind of SpaceX rocket.
they already have an existing rocket that they can take
That's
back
what I
down.
heard. I can't tell you that.
But
that's
it's been
what I heard.
delayed
But
a bunch
Biden
of
was
times
embarrassed by what
because
happened.
the government
And he
did
said,
not want
"Leave
to take
him
a
up
risk.
there."
Like NASA
I
didn't want
would've
to take a
said, if
risk.
you're
Boeing didn't want to
embarrassed,
take a
you gotta
risk.
get him out.
So they
Elon
delayed
is
it.
right now
But the rocket
preparing
is
a
still
ship
up there.
to
They
go
can
up
still
and get
use
him.
that,
I'm
and
sure
they're
that
planning
they will
to.
see this
And
in
Trump is
space.
now using this as an opportunity to give
We
Elon
love
a
you, and
W.
we're coming up to get you, and you shouldn't have been up there so long. The most incompetent president in our history has allowed that to happen to you, but this president won't let it happen. We're going to get them out. We're coming up to get you. I've authorized Elon. I said, can you get them out? Because, you know, they've been left
I
up
like
there.
that idea that he's
I
like
hope they like
talking to
each
them
other.
like psychically.
But they've
Like,
been-
we're coming to
maybe
get
they'll
you.
Love each other.
Hold
I don't know.
on.
But they've been
Bro,
left up there. Think of
Bro, if I'm an astronaut, I'm trying to stay the fuck away from America. Not gonna lie. I'm trying to stay up there at the ISS for as long as I can. Okay.
no kidding. There's
Yeah,
no games
actually,
with her
like
hair. but-
changing the course and defecting to
And you know,
China
there's a
Yeah.
on the way
danger up
back
there
down.
too. They can have some failures up there that would be very bad. You got to get them out. So I've authorized Elon a week ago. I said, you know, we have 2 people up there that Biden and Kamala left up there.
China can't even get them
And
because the
he
ISS
knows
does
it
not cooperate
very
with
well. I
the
said,
with
"Are
the
you
Chinese
equipped to get
That's
them?"
why
space.
that's why it's a
Yeah.
defection. That's why
Starship.
they have to go.
And they're
they have to
preparing
like
it right
land in
now,
Chinese
and
waters
so Elon is
or
going to
Vietnamese
go up
waters, you know,
and,
but then take the opportunity
get
to
him. Should I
explain,
go on that journey just to be
their
on the ship
appreciation.
when we stop?
Yeah,
When-
Manchurian Candidate.
Yes.
That's what they
I should
do.
do it. Oh, that's terrible. I thought he liked it.
As
I thought he
explained
liked
on the
it.
Blowback
I
podcast,
thought it really-
as the first time that the concept of brainwashing was ever used in an American newspaper
Oh, when they come back, I'll greet
because
them.
of
How
the
about that? No, we're gonna get
fantastic
him.
treatment
I've
that the
authorized
People's
Elon
Liberation
Musk to
Army
go and,
showed
get him.
the
he's
American
prepared to do
captives.
Mr. President, what are you making of the market sell-off
that caused the Americans to claim that these American captives were defecting. Did I get that right?
It was that and the germ warfare thing.
Yeah.
Because the movie is about like it's like a defection thing, but in real life it was like wow, these flyers, like these American pilots are all saying we use biological and germ bombs, and they sound really uncoached and like they're speaking honestly about it. It must be brainwashing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you know who else did that yesterday? Our favorite Itamar Ben-Gvir, who said that about an Israeli captive that had returned to Israel, and he said his statement resembled Hamas. There are members in the Israeli Knesset now that are saying Israeli hostages are Hamas. That's right. Let's take a look at the Jerusalem Post article real quick because it's very funny.